There is no hello today. There are only goodbyes as we wave farewell to our dead in this episode. As I type out this script, my fingers keep slipping on the keyboard from the plethora of tears streaming down my face. I cannot contain my sadness. I have truly failed. Last week, I said there's no way we can keep topping the content of the previous week from stream to stream, but I just can't stop the cinema from happening. This week was total insanity. Welcome to week 3. At this point, I'm sitting very comfortably at the top of the table with Speedy and Jay both in the negatives. And I'm excited since in this chapter I get Kyle and Ephraim back, and so in theory I should absolutely dominate the EXP and kills in this chapter. The objective should be mine, the angelic robe in the northeast chest should be mine, and I can either choose to take the chests in the northwest corner or leave them. I don't really care. The main thing I want to take a minute to discuss here is the Sabotage. After the route split, Sabotages will reset, and I'm afraid of one major thing. And a few minor things as well. The main thing is someone stealing the Night Crest from me. Franz is out, so it's unlikely Jay will waste the Sabotage on the Knight's Crest, but Speedy could still have plans for Ford, or just want to cripple me, so it's very much a possibility. The other small things I'd be worried about is them stealing some of my stat boosters or the Elysian Whip if I pick it up. Sure, it could be a bargaining tool, but it's a double-edged sword. For content purposes, I decide I will gain as much EXP as possible on this map with Kyle, and then promote him to prevent that. So, on we go to the chapter. There's really not much to say about this chapter other than a few things. We struggle at the start of our map since our units are so bad and we don't really have that many of them, and then once Kyle and Ephraim get here it should be a sweep between the two of them. Naturally, I don't really want anyone killing those knights and blocking the angelic robe chest in the top right, so I just had Colm sit there and block the door. Not my finest door block, but it does the job all the same. In that time, Ephraim's crew comes in and absolutely massacres the left-hand side. At one point, I miscounted the squares and almost got Ephraim killed, which would have been an absolute disaster. An Ephraim kill here is a wheel roll because of the game over, and while I have the units to spare, I'd rather not have to chance Kyle or Colm getting rolled. Aside from that, it was a slow and steady process to get to the boss. Kyle insisted on not leveling speed, which is extremely painful. He's 1 point below his average at the end of the chapter, which might not seem too bad, but in GBAFE, speed is kind of the penultimate stat responsible for your dodge and your doubling, so you really want that. Now, one thing I absolutely need to do is stop Jay from seizing the throne and ending the chapter. I know that only Ephraim really stands a chance at killing this boss, so if I can do this on player phase, I've got a pretty good shot at just blocking the throne for a while so that I can sweep up the rest of the map and get the angelic robe chest. So I did just that. Ephraim easily one-rounded the boss with his Regenleif while Gilliam blocks the throne. After that, it was a mad dash to the right with Kyle, who, because of his insane strength level ups, is able to one-round all the knights with his steel lance and actually get a couple more levels out of it at this point, and 1 more point in speed on that last one. He takes the angelic robe and uses it, but most importantly, the Night Crest off Colm, who's been holding onto it for him, and I go ahead and promote Kyle into Paladin here. My plan to have him as my team carry is in effect. Albeit his speed is lacking, but I finally managed to bide my time to the point where I have a legitimate contender now. Also, one thing I will say, I'm being painted as the villain in this series, which I guess is fine because I generally tend to assume that role regardless. But damn, I've been the most harmless person in this run so far. Speedy and Jay have been kind of tag teaming and bullying me from the start. It started with leverage on Ross, Colm, and Loot, which didn't really work out with them because of the way recruitment mechanics work in Fire Emblem. I did kill Joshua after that, which I'll give them that, but that was revenge for Raven from the previous series, so come on. Jay actively left Vanessa out to die in our first stream, and somehow Speedy has been letting that slide, probably because he's in a weak position and needs to stay friendly, but he also convinced Jay to not let Erica be rescued. Then she dies and he blames it on me, and that slides too. I've had only 2 big moves in this series so far, and it was in the first stream. It was the Joshua kill, and I'll admit that was an evil move, fine, but you have to do it for the content, and the 5x Ford rescue, which I definitely had to do to guarantee the EXP on my units and the points in that chapter. That was 1000% the right play, and without it, I'm not even anywhere close to the position I'm in right now. But that's all I've really done so far. I haven't been able to compete for kills, level ups, or unit promotions until this chapter specifically. I haven't been able to compete for map objectives, and my units are all really weak. Aside from Kyle, who I literally just got, and Ephraim, who I'm literally just going to lose in about 2 minutes. Sure, I'm ahead of the others on points, so it makes sense to bring me down, that's fine. But I'm not the evil one here. At least I think so. Anyways, with Kyle promoted and the boss dead, I decided to leave the other 2 chests alone and end the chapter. Now it's time for the route split, and I think if there was any more of a predictable route split than this one, actually, that couldn't happen. Jay predictably chooses Erica route, which is fine. I lose Ephraim, which I'm anticipating, and Erica route honestly has some fun and, at the same time, annoying maps, which people tend to take for granted since the other side has the notorious ghost chip. Chapter 9 is an interesting one. You've got pirates that rush the 2 villages, one with a Draco shield and the other with a rapier. I couldn't care less about the rapier village. I'm certainly not going out of my way to save that one to give Jay another weapon. But that Draco shield is something I'd really like on Kyle to bolster his defenses a bit. I'm pretty sure he can rush down there relatively safely, so I decided to go with that full force with Kyle and see if I can get the Draco shield, and man, was that a mistake. See, there are a lot of enemies in that starting area, and while he has a ton of HP and they don't do much damage, there is a sniper there that does 10 damage to him because of the steel bow. I figured I've got over 40 HP, I could sort of tank through it and run away from him, and I did that. While I did that, Colm missed a 92% to prevent Tana from getting a KO on the Ocean Seal Pirate, so I managed to get that for Colm to sell for cash. The rest of the party lagged behind quite a bit, and Kyle was suddenly in a bit of trouble. He had 10 HP left because he'd gotten hit by the sniper like 2 or 3 times, and it was my turn to move, but Jay immediately realized this and sabotaged me, telling me to drop my elixir so that I can't heal. Now, this was a little bit of a point of contention. We did say sabotages were a forced interaction, but we never specified the extent of it. Does dropping the elixir mean I have to end my turn? Does it mean I can move out of range and drop? It's a loophole for sure, but the chat kept calling me out for cheating if I did that, so I figured whatever. I'll just let it go, let him die. If he dies, the run's over. I feel like I probably could have argued that case a little bit more since we never really specified. It does feel like there are 2 interactions since I'm dropping an item and not moving. Though I suppose if he had forced me to just end my turn, the outcome would have been the same anyways. So I wasn't going to sit here and just argue forever and ever and ever. It's fine. Looking back at it now, because of the way GBA Fire Emblem mechanics are, if you just stand in place and drop your elixir, it doesn't consume your move. So at that point, I could have probably just been like, oh, okay, I dropped my elixir, force interaction's over. I still have my entire movement. So I can go and maybe try and kill that sniper. Oh well, anyways, the stream's over, so there's no use crying over spilled milk. Very predictably, Kyle just dies to that sniper who has quite a high hit rate against him, and now I'm down 30 points and I've lost my best unit. Not a fun spot to be in, and to add insult to injury, the only units I have left are Colm, Gilliam, and Ross, who literally can't do anything. My next best units that I can get are Innis and Tethys in the very next chapter, if we can make it there, and that depends on Jay recruiting Innis. At this point, he has directly killed off 2 of my units with his sabotages, so I don't really see him cooperating in the future. So, in this chapter now, I'm pretty lost on what to do. I had a pretty clear game plan of rushing down Kyle, getting the village with the Draco shield, killing a lot of the enemies down there, slowly bringing up Colm, stealing the Speedwing from Amelia, and then slaughtering her because I don't care about recruiting her and I don't need her being force deployed on a map, and then killed off by a sabotage. At this point, I'm not thinking that we're clearing this one, or at least that'll be very difficult. There's like a mob of enemies rushing us down. The sniper is still alive. Jay and Speedy's units are not very strong. And I'm also kind of mad. Jay killed off 2 of my units in back-to-back streams. It was pretty much my fault for letting Kyle get that low, but I wanted as much out of that elixir as I could get because they're pretty valuable. And that meant him taking an extra turn of damage. So, in a moment of weakness here, I'm seeing red, and I decide to go for my sabotage to get Tana killed as revenge.
Oh my God.
Screw it, sabotage.
Yeah?
Oh no, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
Oh my God! Oh my God!
What?
Can't, bro. Oh
Oh
I'm crying.
Oh my God. It's your turn.
Dude, I can't breathe. Oh, I can't breathe. Oh shit. Oh my God.
Jay, it's your turn.
Oh, I'm crying, dude. Oh my god.
What came next was nothing I could have ever predicted. I moved her to the left to attack the fighter on player phase, thinking surely she dies in retaliation. I made a big mistake here, and my first one was attacking with the Iron Lance, so that she not only doubles, but she crits twice. And to add to that, the fighter missed, so she's still alive, and I was flabbergasted here. I completely wasted my sabotage. This woman just defied me completely, and to make things worse, my second mistake was leaving her in range to be healed by Speedy's archer, which he immediately goes and does to keep her alive. So now I'm not only mad, I'm super tilted because Tana just survived and literally flipped me off with 2 crits. I'm depressed because I can't play the game, I don't really have the units to do so. So I'm just gonna sit down and mope for 2 turns. I decide to not participate. Not like I can do much with Colm and Gilliam over here, so I sit and think about what I'm going to do next while I don't participate. Because until we get like Duisil and Ephraim back in chapter 15, I'm pretty much not going to have new units. Like I'm not really banking on the Innes and Tethys recruit next chapter. They'd be nice, but Innes is also like sniper locked, so there's very limited amounts of stuff I can do with him. He's a player phase only unit. It's not ideal. And honestly, it's if we even make it that far. I don't like our odds here, to be honest. Anyways, somehow after much deliberation and thinking and like backtracking, they managed to co-op their way through the waves of units coming at them, and I decide that it's probably in my best interest to try to actually be viable for the next chapters. I help out with Colm. He did have the Ocean Seal that I got back earlier in the chapter, so he can promote to an assassin and maybe put in a bit of work. He's been getting some okay strength level ups, so it's my best shot. It's not like I have much of a choice. They decided to let me have a bunch of kills and level ups, which is strange because that's a lot of points. But I guess they do want the run to go on, so we all actually co-opted and we slowly went down the map and they let me feed the kills to Colm and we distributed them around and honestly earned me a bunch of points between the levels and the promotion. And in the end, somehow the boss kill fell into my lap, so Colm killed the boss and also leveled up, and I got the 5 points for the map objective, which is crazy. I mean, I guess I kinda compensated for the Kyle death, but not really. I'm not gonna lie, I have no idea how we managed to pull through to get that. It felt nearly impossible after Kyle went down, but I guess we got it all the same. It doesn't really matter. It's kind of what I love about Fire Emblem. Sometimes just strategizing and persevering and turtling a little bit will get you through most of the maps. Looking forward, if I can potentially get Innes and Tethys, maybe I can get something rolling again, but I'm not really banking on it. They're just not gonna pull a lot of weight. Unless Jay is truly honest about his promise to recruit Innes to keep the run going, I just don't really see any of them surviving the masses of enemies that'll be coming at them. Speedy will lose out on Garrick too, which is a pretty big blow, and yeah, things are looking very dicey. The next chapter will be quite interesting to see, since it's actually harder than people give it credit for, and if somehow we make it past that, I do think we'll be okay until around chapter 13 or so. 10 and 13 will be roadblock chapters, and we've still got some interesting interactions to go. Speedy still has his Sabotage online, he has Garrick next chapter, and Cormag in chapter 13, and the real interesting thing is, there's only one Elysian Whip left in the game, and it's on Cormag, who's an enemy unit. So, this is where things are going to come into play. Will Jay recruit Cormag for Speedy? Will they bargain for the Elysian Whip so he can have it on Tana? I don't know. That'll probably be a couple weeks out if we even make it that far, but I'm actually interested to see those interactions because at this point I'm just like, I'm out. I have a point lead, but I'm not really competing for anything anymore. It's just like I exist. I'm sort of in limbo. So yeah, I'm still pretty far ahead in terms of the final score at 54 points, and Jay is in second with like 1 singular point. If we take out the deaths though, it puts things into context. I'm at 114 points, which is respectable, but Jay would be dominating this run still, and he would have like 121 points because he's had 4 deaths, and that would be higher than me by 7 points, not to mention that I only compensated all of that because Jay's units died and they weren't participating in these chapters. So he would be absolutely running away with this. I don't think Speedy and I would even be able to compete, or maybe I would be trying to start to compete here. Anyways, folks, that's all for now. Next week's stream will not be on Friday. It's going to be on Saturday at 9 p.m. EST, so just take note of the change of day, and I will see you all in the next video very soon. Peace.